Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome to another tutorial of physics chapter motion. In this class I shall explain a mathematical problems which is very common in this chapter. You know that the students of English versions, Cadet College, and from wherever you are watching this tutorial, you know that in physics, basically SSC or O-level physics, acceleration, velocity, and this is very common and basic phenomena and basic concept of physics, and this type of mathematics are also very common in your test papers and your question paper, whatever you see and whatever trying to do some sort of mathematical solutions in velocity, accelerations type of things. So this is a stem or some scenario about a questions, and this is two questions which is very familiar about this chapter. So you see that a private car is moving from behind and this is a truck, and the distance between them is given 80 meters. So the stem says that a private car moves with a uniform velocity 21 meters per second. So the velocity of the private car is given, and this is noted that this is uniform. So we know that this private car is moving with uniform velocity. Now from position P, so it's moving from position P, and the truck moves from rest. So when it is rest, it says rest, then we say that the initial velocity of that substance, that is this initial velocity of the truck, is 0. So whenever it's written something is started from rest, then we see that the value of u or initial velocity is 0. And with the uniform accelerations, so accelerations is also given of the truck, so we say that the acceleration is given 2 meters per second square. Now this is the state part. So the question is that distance covered by the truck in 20th second. Some of you may have questions that what is the meaning of this 20th? If something like the 5th or specific 11th or even like 20th seconds, it doesn't mean that what is the distance covered by 20 seconds. It is the meaning of that 1 second, of that particular 1 second, what is the distance covered by that object. So the question is the truck in 20th. That means we need to find that what is the distance covered by the truck in that 1 second. I hope you understand. Think about it again. Think about this truck. So when it started, think that it actually crosses this distance in 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And the distance covered by the truck in 19 seconds like this. Think about it, that it started from point Q, okay? Then it reaches R point in 20 seconds and T point in 19 seconds. So if we just deduct the distance covered by the truck in 20 seconds by 19 seconds, then the distance we find, that is the distance covered by that truck in 20th seconds, that means in that 1 second. So this distance that covered by the truck from T to R is the distance in 1 second, and that one is the 20th number of second. So how we can do it? We know that the value of initial velocity and the acceleration is given, so we need to find this one. So the distance covered by the truck in 20th second is S equal ut plus half of a t square. Okay, so we know that the initial velocity is 0. So if it is 0, then we can say that half, this is 0, so we just vanish it, and then a is 2 and t is 20 square. So we know this is 400 meters. So according to the stem, the truck will cover 400 meter in 20 seconds. And now what about 19 seconds? In this case, we can say that again s equals ut plus half at square. So ut is also 0. So half times 2 times 19 square. We know the value of 19 square might be 361. Let me think about it. It's 19 square. Hopefully, yes. So we hope that this is actually 361 meters. So now if we want to find the distance covered by the track in that 1 second, then we know that this is S20 minus S19. So 400 minus 361, it would be like what? It would be 39 meter. 39 meters. So this is the distance covered by the truck in that 1 second. So I hope you understand the process. This is very easy, but if the question is what is the distance covered by the truck in 7th second, or what is the distance covered by the truck in 11th second, then we need to think it in another way, that if it is, the question is what is the distance covered by the truck in 11th second, then we need to find the distance covered by the truck in 11th second minus 10 seconds. Because you know that accelerations and initial velocity is given in the stem, so you can use the data simply. Okay? So this is a simple calculations in case of finding the distance covered by the truck in single second. So the next question is something very, very important. And think clearly that how many times they will meet each other. Think. This private car started with a uniform velocity. That means the velocity will never change. As it is moving with uniform velocity, there is no acceleration. So as it started from 21 meter per second, within 4 seconds, it will cover 80 meter. 21 meter per second. Within 4 seconds, the private car will cover 81 meter, and I mean actually yes, and you think about this truck is just started with no velocity, so it will reach 2 meter per second velocity in 1 second, and then again 4 meter per second velocity in 2 seconds. So usually it's getting the velocity risen up because of the accelerations. So within very shortest time, the private car will cross the truck. But when the truck will gain the velocity of the private car, then again the truck will cross the private car, and then the truck will move on, and then private car will not reach the truck again, because truck is moving with acceleration. But the private car is moving with a uniform velocity like a train. So it's moving and moving with the same velocity, but cars, the velocity is not increased the car. So how we can solve this type of questions if the meeting time is asked? So think about it. Suppose I'm thinking this is the truck and this is the car. Okay? So the distance between them is 80 meter. I'm just thinking that after t seconds, think about after t seconds, when they will meet here first time, then within t seconds this truck will come here and the car will also come here. When the velocity would be same for both. So I'm thinking that this truck will come in this point at t seconds. So I'm just imagining a point, the t point, that is that amount of time is required to reach them here. So now for car, if you say that for car, or you can say that for truck, we know that this is moving with uniform velocity. So if I say that this is the distance, which is S1, and this is the distance for the car is S2. So I can say that the truck S1 is equal UT plus half at square. I don't know what is s, but I know that this u is 0. So we can say that half, this is a, then I can say this is t square. I don't know the t also. So half, this is t square. We know that s1 is t square. So now for car, then we can say this s2 is vt. Why? Because this is uniform velocity. So you can say this is 21t. Now you think this s2 is actually s1 plus 80. So you can say this is s1 plus 80. This is the turning point of these questions. I hope you understand. Okay? So if s2 is s1 plus 80, now you think that s2 is actually 21t, s1 is t square plus 80. So now we got a middle term here. So we can say that t square minus 21t plus 80 is 0. You got a formal algebra here, so I can say that as a middle term as a 16t minus 5t plus 80 equals 0. I hope you know the process. So now if I take a common of t, then t minus 16 minus 5, then again t minus 16 would be the answer. So you can say that t minus 16 and t minus 5 is 0. So we are getting two values of t from this equation. So we can say that again t minus 16 is 0, so the time is 16 seconds. In other way, the t minus 5 is 0, so t is 5 seconds. So we are getting two times, that is 16 seconds and 5 seconds, and this is completely logical because you see that after 5 seconds the car will definitely cross the truck, and then after 16 seconds the truck will again cross the car, and then the car is never ever will reach the truck again because this truck is moving with the accelerations. I hope you can understand the process of solving this problem, and if you find these similar questions ever in your physics mathematical problem solutions, please try to input this concept, and if you fail any trouble or you have any questions, write down in the comment sections in these videos, and please let me know in my Facebook page, which is given in the description box, and I will be responsible to answer your questions perfectly. So take care, see you in the next type of videos. I'm coming up with another type of questions which is common from this chapter. See you.